Bro, it's all about the mindset. You gotta wake up at 4 a.m., eat raw liver, and just outwork everyone. My app is the blueprint. I literally engineered my own physiology through sheer willpower. Willpower? Raw liver? Please. The only thing this guy ever engineered was a way to take credit for my fucking homework. Welcome back to the Audacity of Him, the channel where we dissect the absolute, unmitigated gall of men who think they are the architects of their own success, when really, they just stole the blueprints from the women holding the flashlights. I'm Sam. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, a registered dietitian, and formerly the unpaid, unappreciated ghostwriter for the internet's biggest, fakest fitness guru. Today's story isn't just about a breakup. It's about intellectual property theft, $200 a month scams, secret lipo, and the absolute beauty of a meticulously planned, legally binding comeuppance. Grab a protein shake, my friends. We're going to dissect a meathead. Let me introduce you to Troy. This was Troy 4 years ago. He wasn't an alpha god back then. He was a golden retriever in a human suit who worked at a supplement store and thought macros was a setting on his digital camera. He was sweet, he was dumb, I loved him. I had just finished my clinical rotations and passed my boards. I was officially a DPT and an RD. Troy, meanwhile, had a dream. He wanted to be a fitness influencer. There was just one tiny, minuscule problem. He had no idea what the fuck he was doing. He had the biomechanical awareness of a wet noodle. Within a month of trying to get huge, he destroyed his rotator cuff trying to bench 3 plates for a TikTok. He was depressed, deflated, and practically crying into his whey protein. So, what did I do? Like an idiot in love, I stepped in. I rehabilitated his shoulder. I practically rebuilt the man's supraspinatus from scratch. I put him on a strict, scientifically backed, periodized training program. I calculated his basal metabolic rate, his daily energy expenditure, and wrote out every single meal he ate. I weighed his food, I bought the groceries. And when it was time to film, I was the director, the cameraman, the audio tech, and the editor. I wrote his scripts. When he said things like hypertrophy and progressive overload, he was literally reading off a teleprompter app I installed on my phone right below the camera lens. I built the machine. He just had to stand there and look pretty. And it worked. Oh my God, did it work. In 2 years, the algorithm blessed us. Or rather, it blessed him. He hit 2 million followers. The sponsorship deals rolled in. Energy drinks, gym apparel, meal prep services. And that's when the golden retriever turned into a rabid fucking wolf. With the money came the luxury apartment. And with the luxury apartment came the ego. Troy started believing his own comment section. He started believing he was the genius. The pinnacle of his audacity was the Troy Fit app. He came to me one day and said he partnered with a dev team to launch a premium coaching app. $200 a month. I asked him, Troy, who is writing the programming for thousands of different body types and medical histories? He just smirked and said, I uploaded all your old spreadsheets. The devs just randomized them. He was charging vulnerable people, teenagers, and folks with actual metabolic disorders $200 a month for a copy-pasted, randomized version of my intellectual property, and I saw 0% of the profits. When I told him that was not only unethical, but dangerous, he patted me on the head. Literally. He patted my head and said, Babe, don't worry your pretty little head about the business. Just keep making the chicken. But wait, it gets worse. Because of course it does. The app money made him untouchable in his own mind. He started taking business trips to LA and Miami. I stayed home to manage the email inbox for his app, because someone had to answer the terrified customers who were tearing their hamstrings on his randomized programs. And that's when I found the DMs on the shared iPad. He wasn't just cheating, he was cheating with an entire roster of Gymshark girlies. He was flying them out on the credit card that my labor had paid for. I had the proof. I had the screenshots. I was ready to blow up his life. But Troy beat me to the punch. It was a Tuesday night. I was sitting at the kitchen island, the iPad flat on the counter in front of me, loaded with evidence. The front door unlocked. Troy walked in, laughing on his phone. He hung up, looked at me, and didn't even flinch. I slid the iPad across the marble. It hit his protein shaker. "Who is Lexi?" I asked. My voice wasn't shaking. I was so full of rage it had crystallized into pure, icy calm. He didn't apologize. He didn't stutter. He looked at the messages, locked the iPad screen, and sighed like I had just inconvenienced him by finding out he was a monster. He leaned against the counter, crossed his massive fake arms, and said the words that will be burned into my cerebral cortex until the day I die. "Look, Sam, you're a great assistant, but we're going in different directions. I'm building an empire. Well, look at you." He gestured up and down at my body. "You're built like a librarian. You don't even lift. You're ruining my brand aesthetic when people see us together. I need to be seen with 10s. You need to pack your shit." I stood up. I pointed out that I built the brand. I pointed out that I wrote the programs. I pointed out that his name was on the lease, but my brain was the only thing keeping the lights on. He laughed, a loud, booming, empty laugh. He leaned in close to my face, so close I could smell the spearmint gum and the narcissism, and he whispered, "You wrote some words on a laptop, sweetheart. I'm the one with the muscles. I am the business. Now get out of my apartment before I call the cops for trespassing." He kicked me out. That night. I had nothing but a duffel bag, my laptop, and the clothes on my back. 6 years of my life, my intellectual property, my love, my patience, discarded because I was built like a librarian. I spent the next 2 months sleeping on my older sister's couch in a studio apartment that smelled faintly of cat pee and failure. I was broken. Not just heartbroken, but spiritually annihilated. The worst part wasn't the couch. The worst part was that I couldn't escape him, because he was everywhere. Yeah, man, you just gotta cut toxic people out of your life. People who drag down your aesthetic, people who don't understand the hustle. My ex? Total anchor. I dropped her, and my net worth tripled. I watched him sit on these red pill alpha bro podcasts spewing absolute garbage. He was telling young men that depression wasn't real and could be cured by deadlifting. He was telling women that if they didn't have a 24-inch waist, they were genetically inferior. He was a menace to society, and he was doing it using the platform I built for him. I hit rock bottom. I cried until I couldn't breathe. And then, the sadness evaporated. It didn't just leave, it was incinerated by a rage so pure and concentrated it could have powered the eastern seaboard. I remembered something Troy, in his infinite meathead arrogance, had forgotten. When you are the assistant, you handle the paperwork. And when you move out in a blind rage, you grab your laptop. And my laptop had the cloud drive. Let me tell you a secret about Troy's alpha god physique. He claimed it was all chicken, broccoli, and my magic programming. Bullshit. It's amazing what a little science can do, but it's even more amazing what a cosmetic surgeon in Boca Raton can do. Item 1. High-def lipo. The man actually paid a doctor to suck the fat out from between his abdominal muscles to give him permanent fake abs. Who gets lipo on their obliques? A lazy fuck, that's who. I had the invoices. I had the pre-op and post-op photos he made me take. Item 2. The juice. Troy was pinning more gear than a Tour de France team in the 90s. Tren, Winstrol, Test. I had the cryptocurrency receipts he used to buy it, and the email chains complaining about his back acne. Now, on its own, exposing a fitness influencer for fake abs and steroids is fun. It's petty, but it's not brutal. And I wanted brutal. I am a licensed healthcare professional. I know the law. And Troy did not. In our state, and in the state where his LLC was registered, providing specific, individualized medical and nutritional prescriptions for the treatment of diseases, which his app claimed to do for things like PCOS and diabetes, requires a license. A license he did not have. He was practicing dietetics without a license. It is a massive legal violation. Phase 1. I compiled a 40-page dossier detailing the inner workings of his app, the randomizer code, the false medical claims, and his lack of credentials. I submitted it anonymously to the state medical and dietetics boards. Phase 2. The masterpiece. Troy had just signed a massive 6-figure title sponsorship with a global natural bodybuilding federation. Their whole brand was about being drug-free. They drug-tested athletes rigorously, and their sponsors had to sign morality clauses guaranteeing they were lifetime natural athletes. I took the pharmacy receipts, the offshore tracking numbers, the back acne emails, and the liposuction invoices. I put them in a beautiful, neat little zip file, and I emailed it to the president of the Natural Federation, their board of directors, and, for good measure, the editors of the top 3 fitness magazines in the world. The fallout was glorious. It was a digital bloodbath. The Natural Federation didn't just drop him, they publicly denounced him in a press release, citing undeniable documentary evidence of severe doping and cosmetic enhancement. His sponsors pulled out overnight. The energy drink company dropped him under the morality clause. Gymshark ghosted him. And then the state medical board came knocking. They served him with a cease and desist, froze the app's assets pending an investigation, and hit him with fines so astronomical he had to put the luxury apartment up for rent. Guys, I've made some severe lapses in judgment. The pressure to be perfect was just too much. He made the apology video. You know the one. The gray hoodie, sitting on the floor, blaming mental health for the fact that he ripped off his girlfriend and bought black market butt fat injections. It didn't work. He was radioactive. He wasn't the business anymore. He was a laughingstock. You'd think the state fines and the public humiliation would be enough, right? That he'd scurry back to the supplement store and leave me alone. But narcissists don't do quiet exits. 6 months after the Lipo leak, I was launching the Reclaim Fitness app. To promote it, I booked a live, in-studio interview on one of the biggest women's lifestyle podcasts in the country. So, Dr. Hayes, your new app is entirely evidence-based. What made you decide to step out from behind the scenes? I was literally mid-sentence, talking about metabolic health, when the studio door didn't just open, it flew off its fucking hinges. Enter Troy. Post-steroids, post-sponsorships, post-sanity. He had tracked my location from the live stream. He was broke, he was desperate, and he wanted a villain to blame. You ruined my fucking life. You stole my formulas. You hacked my medical records, you crazy bitch. Tell them you made it all up. The audacity, right? Even at rock bottom, he was claiming my formulas were his. He lunged for the table, grabbed the edge, and flipped it. Mics went flying. Water glasses shattered. The producers were yelling for security, but security was 2 floors down. It was just me and the incredible Sulk. He came at me. He wanted to physically intimidate me on camera. But here is the beautiful thing about being a doctor of physical therapy who meticulously rehabilitated this exact man's destroyed shoulder. I know his biomechanics better than he does. I know exactly where the structural weaknesses are. I caught his arm. Extreme external rotation combined with forced abduction. It's the exact position that tests the supraspinatus tendon, the one I rebuilt. I applied maybe 10 pounds of pressure. That's all it took. Ow! Ow! Fuck, my shoulder! Let go! Let go! Let go! I built that shoulder, Troy. I can take it apart again. Sit down, shut up, and wait for the police. I held him there like a misbehaving toddler until the cops arrived and dragged him out for assault and trespassing. The cameras never stopped rolling. The live stream caught every single second. By the time I left the police station after giving my statement, the clip had 15 million views on Twitter. Troy's attempt to ruin my launch became the greatest marketing campaign in the history of fitness apps. Reclaim Fitness hit #1 in the App Store by midnight. And that, my friends, is how you handle a fake guru. You don't just take your power back, you use their momentum to flip them on their ass, live on the internet. Today, Reclaim Fitness is a multi-million-dollar platform. We focus on getting strong, not for an aesthetic, not for an algorithm, but because there is nothing quite as satisfying as knowing you have the physical and mental strength to rebuild your life from scratch and physically neutralize a toxic narcissist while wearing a killer blazer. If you enjoyed this story of absolute, unhinged justice, please do me a favor. Smash that like button. Hit it harder than I hit Troy's rotator cuff. Subscribe to the Audacity of Him for more stories of terrible men getting exactly what they deserve. And let me know in the comments below, what's the most audacious thing an ex has ever tried to pull, and how did you destroy them for it? Until next time, stay smart, stay strong, and never, ever let a man take credit for your homework. Bye, guys.